Education not free. And if you never say no, education not free. Now if you say book sweet fast money and gold are true. Make a talk that. And the long chef sweet fast money and gold are free. And you don't go pay 1 cent, you don't go get me and I do it for school fee. Come on, they say if you don't go account for September 1. Education are the key, education are for we. And this is why I'm free. Say knowledge and truth are what fathers pray. Education are free. What picking out to think for the school. Education are free. Seisay-Jalloh today. Oh mama. Education are free. Education are free. Send you be in the school, mama. Send you be in the papa. Education are free, not school. Send you be in go, mama. If you don't get better, if you don't get better, send on my school. If you don't get better, the focus one not free. When you go play one kubo, education are free. Distraction, I feel book no leg. The killer for go straight free and not there. Come here, no more excuse. Send on for land. Muslim go before you go send on to man. If your friends are for your kind of bacteria. Education, I feel chilling gently, yeah. Say knowledge and truth are what fathers pray. Education are free. What picking out to think for the school. Education are free. Seisay-Jalloh today. Oh mama. Education are free. Education are free. You can go school on here, market yourself. I don't kind thing that you can make it your way. Don't worry about the school fee, a uniform for wear. Or tomorrow, so you go get something to back hotel. Mama, where you picking land, the baby being on the right. Mama, where you picking land, you know in left from the right. Mama, where you picking land, you know the good from the bad. Papa, where you picking land, then in part you go hard. Education is the key. It's a salon now, not free. Now it's a knowledge for land, one land is long, okay, one day. No like the truth, a forefather's plan. Mighty the nations, the education with quality. In a government account with the strategy. I say you wait for it up and let you lodge in free. I'm picking up a place to see. Yeah, English we go right and fine. And no time with the picking and speak and fine. Mommy, I want to go to school. Say knowledge and truth are what fathers pray. Education are free. What picking out to think for the school. Education are free. Seisay-Jalloh today. Oh mama. Education are free. Education are free. Say knowledge and truth are what fathers pray. Education are free. What picking out to think for the school. Education are free. Seisay-Jalloh today. Oh mama. Education are free. Education are free. Education are free. Education are free. It's Cammy, baby. Education is a must, brother. If you learn it, go clear your way. Take your book and pen, make it go to school. Cause this opportunity don't come and for you. Now let's make sister, say knowledge and truth. That's what fathers pray. Education are free. What picking out to think for the school. Education are free. Seisay-Jalloh today. Oh mama. Education are free. Education are free. Love making love say gravity now. See what I got with yourself, make things happen now. And so when you say education not free. And it's not when you don't say long, education not free. Now if you say book sweet fast money and gold are true. Make a talk that. And the long chef sweet fast money and gold are free. And you don't go pay 1 cent, you don't go get me and I do it for school fee. Come on, they say no go account for September 1. Education are the key, education are for we. And this is why I'm free. Say knowledge and truth are what fathers pray. Education are free. But picking up for go school. Education are free. Seisay-Jalloh today. Oh mama. Education are free. Education are free. Send you begin my school, mama. Send you begin no papa. Education are free. Na school. Send you begin go na school. Send on a school, if you have your belly. It's the first one that's free. When you have a fair one, education are free. Instruction are free, book knowledge. The killer for most kids, we are not there. Compare no more excuse, send on for land. No school will be flopped, go send on for man.
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Isatta Sisay-Jalloh of the Health Show. Welcome back to another Thursday evening. Today is Thursday, the 20th of August 2020. We tell una all ado. We tell una thank you. Today is a special program, a special program. When I see some man just they smile no more, some man just don't know anything for do. Then mama, them papa, them son, and just they dance and dance shake it like now they study them. And then you get them come right back now, right now, we're gonna cry, we're upset. So they can't just be today. Today we do talk about GCSE results, A-level results as a whole, and waiting at the impact way they get on we picking them, and we self as parents them or guardians them, and waiting the future holds, and waiting it mean for make picking pass and do very well, but also waiting can be where picking not pass or do very well. Waiting at the options and waiting available for make we able support them at such a difficult time and a crossroad in their life, you know, because as you know, then say all the finger they're not equal. So as much as like I said, some people they celebrate 8, 9, 7 today, and so some man he don't go lock himself in a room so because now let mama or papa see themselves. So we have to balance it and then see how best we can talk about all these people and see how we go encourage them, both the one that we don't pass so and the one that we not pass so, how we go encourage them for make them do better and more with the rest of their life and their future. So thank you so much. I get today the producer himself, the CEO himself of Diaspora Voices. Una go see all in gold teeth in last 9 months today, because today now a day where is so happy and we are all happy for him, and of course the young woman, and of course all the other nieces and nephews them we don't do so well. I'll go mention their all name later on in this program because I am so proud of all of them, and I don't say they have dinner on me, you know, in the next couple of weeks. Yes, I am going to invite them to a special meal for congratulate them and thank them for all the hard work and efforts they put in it. So why would they talk about GCSE? I just want to give people a little bit of an overview of GCSE and this A-level business. So GCSE obviously is the exam you take when you get to year 11 now the United Kingdom. Over the years, many years ago, up until in the 90s, mid-90s, I believe, and the same thing be they happen now we home country Mama Salone. When you reach Form 5, you end up calling Form 5, you they sit you GCSE O levels, and then you get your results. where now then they take you or go now form 6, which is also called sixth form. And now this country then call on year 12 and year 13. But I know say salon don't change, and me una not ask me for try for explain this JSS1, JSS2, SS3, SS this. I don't have, I'm not able to get me head around it. I just know say then self don't change the system a bit. Now mama salon way for manage the way where they grade picking them and how they go on and so on and so forth. And of course, the other country where we know say we got people in North America, then get different system. Then get high school, then get middle school, and then get college. Like me nephew now, they go college tomorrow in as far as then call them college, but actually now university they go. So where be they sixth form, then call them senior school. So it varies depending on where you are. So we dey focus now today on the UK and what we dey do now. So 3 years ago in 2018, the government decide, the Ministry of Education and decide that they review the grading system, that they review the exam as a whole and change them for better, because them be feel say it be the lower in standard, so there be wants for change the grading system for make sure say they higher the standard. I mean, we get a lot of buts about that and whys about that, but we're not going to go into that today, because I think we gradually see the impact of waiting Michael Gove, that anyway, and be the Minister of Education at that time, what did he do? We now then begin to see the outcome of it, and we're not liking it to some extent. So, but the key thing we then do, they change the grading system. For many years, the grading system was in letters. So you get you A, B, C, D, E, and F, and G. So, but then, which basically means A or A star, it means you don't do fantastically well, and B and C and D. And then decide say, okay, then they change them to numbers rather than letters. So then feel say, and this then do are in line with where they also change the curriculum of the GCSE in England. For them intention, like I say, was to make it more challenging, make it more difficult for picking them for pass the exam according to the Ofcom, which now the regulatory body where they manage all these exams. And then believe say this numerical grades actually they help for better differentiate between the students of different abilities. Now again, I say this now other thing we'll argue, but today if we get for argue, but not to that day we they talk about today, we just talk generally about GCSE and how it affect we picking them, how it affect we as parents as well, because I have been through it. I was through it last year, and I know say it feels as if now you they sit the exam rather than the picking self. So I can only imagine. I know waiting parents that they go through today, waiting and go through last night up until today. So just for recap the grades. So like I say, now they don't change them to numerical grading. So now we've got, so if we take 9, 8, and 7, so 9, 8, and 7 equivalent to A star and A's in the past. And then 6, 5, and 4 equivalent to B to C. And then grade 4, which is C, is pretty much the benchmark, which means you pass. And then 3, 2, and 1 is equivalent to D through to G. And of course, that means no pass. So waiting make again this GCSE this year so special. These results are so special for the last 3 weeks. And I know more done the arena, the media that they go on about We see so many fiasco, like a producer say, when some done they do programs about it. We see so many contradictions, we see so many arguments, we see so many problems. We see how the government be get for do a U-turn in Scotland because of the way where they decide for grade the results and the exams. And why was that? That was purely because for the first time in history, we get this virus, this treacherous virus we can see on with the what they call coronavirus COVID-19, where make a lot of enormous and huge difference in so many things that we'll do this year, this 2020. And one of the things that way it gets a detrimental impact on is the educational system. Now, the whole of the world to some extent. Well, if we focus on England and United Kingdom, we know say most students that miss out on months of face-to-face schooling, and the GCSE, the A-level, and the AS exams, they decide for cancel them all. Why? Because of the way this virus is being transmitted. So they decide at very early stage they will not take no risk. They cancel their exam there, and we go look at different options on how we go grade with picking them, so that then go still able to get their certificate them, and then go still able, the one they will do the GCSE, they go still able to go on and do their sixth form or do whatever they want to do. And then the one they will not do the sixth form, the A levels, themselves go able to go on and go university. For them one day we want to go university, or for them one day we want to go into apprenticeship, and so on and so forth. Then go able for do that. So of course, this come with lots and lots and lots of emotions. Lots of emotions were left, not just the picking them, although more the picking them, but also the parents them. It left them with feelings of loss. It left them with feelings of being confused, being cheated out on, because I remember me producer and we CEO of Diaspora Voices I remember when they canceled the exams. Inogo probably realize or remember now. He went on and on and on and on and on about it, because why? In daughter, now one of them people that will be they look forward to taking the exams. Some kids, it was a blessing in disguise for them, because some picking them no like exam. But some kids really wanted to take these exams because traditionally it is seen as the rite of passage for any teenager. So they felt robbed of that rite of passage day. And of course, the anxiety, all these emotions, as long as you're not caring parents where they pay attention to them and we're interested in waiting that they do, you can't help it, then go project some of these emotions on you. So that is why a lot of people then they feel the way they feel. So today now, we don't get these results. We don't. Last week, we get the A-level one, which caused a bit of fiasco, because they used a grading technology system. We're really not giving picking and grade the way they reflect. Now they decide for go back and grade the picking them based on their predicted grades. Now with everybody again where get picking in this country, say every time where you go parents evening, they go tell you waiting at the predicted grades of that picking day in terms of every subject where they do. Waiting they expect them forget. Waiting they feel say now in your potential, waiting it capable of achieving. Then get waiting and feel say for every picking for achieve now whatever year that picking day. But then also the grade the picking say, okay, this picking based on the ability that they able to say to you, this picking now so he able to do or now this he get for come to and so on and so forth. So it's very, very important for us parents, whether you don't reach now this stage or you get for reaching at this stage. These are some of the things they think about, especially as you begin go year 8. Year 7, consider and say now time for settle now transitioning year from primary school into secondary school. But as soon as they step into year 8, you need for begin take them things they are seriously, because just like the situation we don't get right now, they begin the way not take them more seriously. Today they are not very happy. And it might not necessarily mean say them picking and they not get sense or they get any lower ability than the picking we get 9, 8, 7, or 6. It's purely because at that time, maturity not kicking yet for them, self-realization not kicking yet for them, for let them realize, say, I get for sit down and study. Because we all know, say, and even the teacher themselves, he talk am, some picking they were playful and whatever. Sometimes after the mock exam, now they realize, say, oh, I need to get myself together and sort myself out. So why I don't reach there now, I want to make we can celebrate some successes. So I they come call in my special guest. The special guest, we're not a special guest because the end they be on the computer, they play with them. So it go come just for make we can talk a bit and chat a bit about, the build up to today. And basically from year 10, I want for come make a share in experience from year 10, where the daughter go into year 10. Because that's where, I mean, for most schools, in fact, the work starts at year 9. So waiting na the journey so far and so on and so forth. So with much ado, I will call on my own very brother, Abdul Sisay, the Moses, DJ Little, all other names I know and for, and it's all there. And of course, the producer and CEO of Diaspora Voices. Please, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome Abdul Sisay.
Hello, good evening, Isatta Sisay. Excuse the voice. Una don't damage the voice. How are you, ma?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. And yourself?
We give thanks to God Almighty. You say I dey green from end to end. I don't understand where the green is coming from. I'm greening because if you don't know, this is probably we first show together in more than 3 months or so. But that make her smile. It's nothing to do with GCSEs.
Oh, yeah, better for you.
This is our first show. I'm talking of like Diaspora Voices Health Show. When was the last time we did a health show together?
I can't even remember,
So every reason for that green. So that make her green.
Well, at least you haven't been you back. Not so. I sent message for you. I said this. You get for join today. If you not join, no show. At Taiwan. I said I know they do.
Now me friend you blabber. I think I me first spend blabber. But
yes.
I don't know if blabber never come back and bet me.
You for don't know me now. You for don't know me. Say they always catch you.
I beg pardon. I beg pardon. I they ask you don't Tuesday and I call you the football program. I don't know if I'm back again for kind of bet, but anyway, I'm glad it's
all for a great cause. I feel quite humbled and feel privileged for able to sit down and celebrate with them and talk about with them successes and for the one that will not be as successful as they should be, for kind of talk to them parents and talk to themselves and see and talk to them about options where they out there as well. So I mean, talk me through to the preparation for coming to today. When did it start for you guys as parents?
Thank you for that. For me, when did it start? It starts with nursery. And then I'll fast track. And from nursery, you see a child who's gifted and talented, which you're probably in that position to identify. And as parents, we know we kind of saw the self-drive from nursery, the feedbacks. And I think from nursery school, now they begin get the feedbacks. That way, teachers then they give you, and that kind of start tailoring your child's abilities, so to speak. And then you go into primary school, and then you see those the continuity of those feedbacks from that child, because you think, say, okay, well, nobody they give bad feedback now nursery school for any picking because they want to impress the parents. And then when it gets to primary school, then there are certain things which for people like yourself that has been in the teaching industry, like in your capacity you are, and believe it or not, I've got 2 years experience as a teaching assistant, which I did back in 1999 to 2001. You understand? And you kind of see or hear the feedback that they will give to all the children and their parents at parenting. They see one kind of word, then they omit. And for each child with the extra ability or a child will need that kind of support. And then you seem to see when then they use all the same catchphrase than they regularly, and like then they run out of superlatives. You're thinking for your child, and you're thinking, okay. And then by the time we get to year 6, if I have to be honest, is when we got to year 5 going to year 6, there was a teacher there, a black teacher, and she was amazing. When the teacher invites you in outside of parents' evening and call you and have not only a professional conversation, but a personal conversation and say, I think say una get a special child now and una do something more for enhance that. Then you kind of thinking the penny is dropping that this person, this speaking, not to just a fluke, not to because of you they tell and say go study. And because if somebody else that's completely foreign, identifying that and moving into a secondary school, and that kind of follows through. And when we get to year 6, and after that 11 plus exam, as you know, the national recognition, there's where the government, especially, they recognize for each boroughs. She was one of probably 100 picking them. Now the one who boroughs from all schools, again as a governor, where they start not governing, but you know about that. So she was one of those kids that were picked in our school to receive a special award now Southwark Waterloo Cathedral, you understand, for some reason. And I've been thinking, that's the first time you dress up very nice. You're thinking, okay, that's a mini graduation. And then you turn up there. And that kind of follows through, and then we see that feedback there, the work ethics. But where it starts turning is for us, or for me, is looking at the child's willingness to wanting to do well, and the independence that they apply. Because when you get a daddy or parents like we are very highly social and highly committed to work, and then so you probably not get time for sit down with you picking them, but whenever you can, you see that picking get time of their own when they self-study. And I think that's the difference. That's when we start identifying the difference. Because if they get them picking, and if, for example, in my lifestyle, in my professional as well as social lifestyle, I cannot say I've sat down and spent back-to-back weekend with any of me picking them, growing up from the elder brother to the last one to say I dedicated the whole weekend, say this now weekend for study. No. But the ability for one of the children to remove themselves and saying this is when it's time for me to read and study, that's when you start identifying quietly, you begin to pinch yourself, say, I've got somebody who's special, who wants to do well, who wants to learn, who wants to be better in what they do, and that kind of thing. And then, so it was like that. Then the school reports are nothing short of excellence. And one of the key things that placed me in a better position is the fact that I don't know for all three me picking them, even to Idris, that I wasn't full-time in his life. I don't know if any of me picking them, they are not actively attend of nearly, probably miss maybe, let's say 3 or 4 parents' evening in the year. Isatta.
I want to ask you that question there. I want to ask you, say, how did you ever miss any parents' evening at all?
For Idris, yes, because of the location. Idris, for the audience, that my big son, because of the location. But one of the respect way Mama give me, she placed me in the position to look at to be the person responsible for education. So I mean, for they take time out for go all the way to New Addington, outside and they for go for parents' evening. But yes, I did miss a parents' evening or two. But for the 2 girls, like I can't recall, because I've done it both. We've done it together. I've done it with them and then their mom. We've always been there, and it's almost recognized that people always get out. No, today we're parents' evening. You understand, where you probably find parents where you take it in turns. We've always turned up together, And I think that's probably been a confidence booster towards the child and the children as well as for us, is giving us, placed us in the position to know the development stages of the child. So then feedback in the and areas of concern, we're able to address that by having that conversation. So for me, yes.
Okay. So it's about being able to be there for your child, being supportive in whichever way you can. And like you say, where there's any issue, it's highlighted and you're able to nip it in the bud as quickly as possible. Now, I think one key thing where you say, Anda, is basically the child has to be willing to put in the work. The child has to be prepared to do the time and so on and so forth. And I think that is very important for us parents to recognize and understand that, because I think I personally have had that experience where I had a child that was not really willing to put in the work. It was pretty much, I'm going to do the basic and that's that. But when you do, and you can, and with a child like that, you don't just ignore them, of course, you identify it, and you still try and support them and encourage them as best as possible. So when you do have a child who independently is so self-directed, which is what we call self-directed learning, the ability to self-direct, because we as Africans, we learn back home, back home is pretty much you copy and memorize. You copy and memorize. Now that is different. It's totally different style of learning here. The learning styles here are totally different, wherein there has to be a significant number or percentage of self-directed learning. You need to be curious. You need to want to go and seek knowledge and information, because they're not going to give you everything on a platter. Or say, oh, yes, this math, this is Pythagoras theorem, A, B, C, D, D, X, or this is your algebra, X plus Y equals to X, Y. No, they are just going to give you the basics, the foundation, and they say to you, go seek more knowledge. And if you get stuck, we're here to support you. Bring us more questions, and so on and so forth. So another question I wanted to ask you as a parent, Wahab, because I think this is very important for parents who are probably not as intelligent or as bright as the child they have brought into this world, because that happens a lot. You can born Pekin, it gets sense past you.
Yeah.
Because and that could be for so many reasons. It could be because of the environment where they find themselves, and also the support and encouragement they're getting from you as a parent, where probably you not get them from you, your parents, or you not find yourself in that environment state. And all the socio-economic challenges and so on and so forth. But there's always this saying, a child who is ready and prepared to thrive, they will thrive in any given circumstances or environment.
True.
So as a parent, having a child who is considered, in inverted comma, gifted and talented, how did you deal with that, being the fact that you yourself, you're not educated to, let's say what, an undergraduate level? Correct me if I'm wrong. How do you deal with such a child? How do you approach it?
So I think it's a good question. I think one of the key things is you have to look at the two in a different way. So you look at your knowledge that you've attained based on basically, first of all, as you talked earlier, the level of education system is different. I was educated in Sierra Leone, but I was also privileged to receive the British education, because when I came to this country, even though I don't sit me GCSE, I was able to go back and take GCSEs in this country, you understand, albeit the basic 4, and then continue in my sixth form. So whilst I didn't have the sixth form where I found myself, I was very lucky and fortunate where I found a director will say, okay, do your GCSEs, these 4 subjects. So I was able to take 4 of the subjects where give me the opportunity for gain some of the learning styles. Now, I think it put me on top. But I know in my capacity that I am an intelligent person, even though I not attain the higher level education. But when you see you picking, get that knowledge, and then you're thinking, okay, there is a system here where you want this child to surpass your knowledge, to take it one step further than you or your parents, or as parents, you want that child to go further. You try to nourish that. You understand? You try to set goals and then saying, well, be realistic in those goals as well. Be realistic in those values and say, look, this is what I've achieved. This is what I've got. And I think as parents, as you say, parents that will not learn, what you can find out, say, most of them, with them picking them, then they shy away. Then they shy away for sure that say, okay, because no one like picking no say, I'm not get and so you go make tamai, or they make a bit timid, or you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about, they don't want to talk about their level of intelligence or how far they get in a school. How many parents then today where, I know they talk about parents that when are higher graduates or higher achievers, where let's say are undergraduates, you understand, or we not attain that level, we go sit down and say, look, I only got to the level of 6th form na salon, and then work out of this country, I not go past that, but I want you go past that. We go encourage them picking them. So that's the drive, and that openness there. If you're able to say to your child, this is what I have, this is what I did, even though I have the ability to go more, but if you have that drive and you can excel beyond what we have, and you can excel and you aspire, and then you then start identifying key people who are mostly relatives with the same positivity, with the same thinking, or with higher achievements. You start citing them and saying, okay, for example, look at your cousin. He or she is a doctor. You understand? The bloodline. No, I'm not talking about identifying friends. Start identifying bloodlines that have achieved higher education through putting in the effort, putting in the work. So, and I think that's one of the key, basically in a nutshell, what I can say, be open about your knowledge, be open about your educational level, and then encourage them to surpass that, and do not be scared, because when them bright, as I say, gifted and talented, they will come at you. And now they're the problem they did. When they come at you with their knowledge, many of us as parents that do not have that higher education, or they did not aspire to that higher education, now then they first put the picking on. You understand it? They start knocking down the kids because they feel threatened. While you want to create a platform for encouraging and say, these people, now they can educate me today. Now they can school me today. You encourage that rather than bringing it down. And I think that was my approach, and I believe that's Mom's approach as well.
Yeah, and I think that's very important to highlight and make note of, because we always see in other nationalities. If we take the Asians, for example, the Asians I've come across, a lot of them, when they encounter this country, up until this day, some of those parents or grandparents, they can barely speak English, but their children the children when they're born in this country, they've grown to become doctors, lawyers, investment bankers, entrepreneurs, you name it. I mean, we mayor, for instance, for now, we mayor, if you go speak English to in Mama, it probably they understand you, but not they able to communicate them as much as in Peking now we don't become a mayor. So I think it's very important for us parents for always aspire better and more for we picking them. Back home, like you always say, you the pray God that you picking can't pass you. Who say you don't stop, now then you picking for begin. And I think one of the key things about that is education. Education is key. Education is power. Education is everything. And once you acquire it, nobody can take it away from you. You can be the richest person in the world, and the next day you can become the poorest person. But once you've acquired knowledge, which is part of education, nobody can take that away. And for me, that was one of the things from a very early age, me daddy instilled in me. He was like, you know, forget about my wealth. Just focus on this one wealth I am going to give you, which is the opportunity to be able to achieve as much as you can through education. So I think it's very important we make note of that and remind parents that don't be intimidated if you're lucky, because it's been lucky, and it's a privilege and it's a blessing for you for born picking where can get sense past you, or for you for born picking now the right environment at the right time with the right opportunities around them.
Yep.
When we start this program, before you start the program, the warm-up was education are free with the thing you play, because at the end of the day, we Mama Salon will come out up until recently, education was not free. And even at this point where the sitting government is trying so hard for ensure free education, it is still a challenge. It is still a struggle because of the way the system don't become over many, many, many years. So I think it's very, very important for us to take note of that and understand the importance of education, because I think even if you are not educated yourself, but if you value education, you're able to recognize the potential and abilities of your child and be able to encourage and direct them in the appropriate way. So, Mr. Wahab, today, how do you feel? How did you go to bed last night? Because you for one, since the day when they say no exam, me yes, no stop for Yeri. Oh, Waida not happy. Waida not happy. Not happy because take exam. I'm like, yeah, but she's gonna be fine. I remember saying to you, she will be fine. They are going to put things in place. They will be fine. Those who deserve a good result will do. Yes, maybe one or two that did deserve it will not get it. But I always believe it is not the end of the world. And we will come to that. So how are you feeling at the moment?
Personally, if I can just focus on my child first, because I get mixed emotion, which, as you said, we'll talk about later. But for my own picking, I'm very, very excited. I'm very, very happy. I'm elated to the moon. I don't lie. You understand? Because it's the first time I've gone on social media and I've said nothing. You understand? The short words. If you see my post that I post, I run out of words. It's, to God be thy glory. And that's all I kind of put on, something of the sort. I can't even remember. But anyway, I think from the onset of when the government made the decision for cancel the exam, I was massively disappointed, as you said. And I rant and I rant and I rant because the reason for that, based on what I see, the preparation, when you walk into your child's space, so to speak, their room, and then you see the processes, you see how the preparation, you know what I mean, mapping things out, the study patterns, the work ethics, the independence. And I feel, yes, coronavirus has actually impacted on the globe and will do so for a very, very long time. But in hindsight, I thought, in my opinion, it was a premature decision to cancel the exams for the kids, which was, for me, I saw it as a punitive measures to O levels and A level students, at least which ways and means could have been done. But at the time, nobody knew about the exams. I'm sorry, about the disease. We did not know a lot more than what we knew then. And I believe the government looked at safeguarding more importantly than that of the exam itself, and then trying to protect the welfare of not only the children them, but the teachers them, and all the other surroundings, the cooks, whatever therefore be involved in school setting program. So and I think that's something, you know, the science better. But when I look at the preparation of the child, and I saw and I feel this girl deserves the opportunity to confront this exam. You understand? Because it's a confrontation. You understand? Where you don't prepare, you're going to a bathroom. You know,
Yeah.
And that battle there is not against anybody else. It's against the child versus their ability. You understand? How well have they prepared? How well are they ready for the new world? Some children are gifted and talented. They're able for study for past exam. Some children are consistent to work. You understand? And I saw all of that package together in my daughter. You understand? So that's the disappointment. But coming to look at the bigger picture after he has been said, okay, well, fine, we are going to do this, we're going to bring in an algorithm. That's even infuriating me more, as you saw in my reactions, and because I felt nobody has the right to assess or make the decision of my child based on their location, based on their school's past results, based on all the other reasons which was cited by the education secretary or the government at the time. And I'm thinking, you can't do that. You cannot do that because my child is gifted. But I have to be honest. We have a daughter that kept reassuring, say everything is going to be fine, because the mock exams, as they can say, how we can say, I'm married over for sweets now from the bachelor's eve. So the mock exams had already proved to us that if this young lady confronts or go into battle with this exam, she's going to defeat the exam easy. She's going to win the war. She's going to win the battle. She's going to come out with the best of scores. You understand? So that anxiety was right up there for me, because there was indecisiveness of how would it come out to be based on what the government was going to, the formula the government was going to follow, the algorithm the government was going to follow. Is my child going to be robbed of a natural ability, a natural talent, or is she going to be given what she has merited, not as a favor, not as what you call even the teacher's assessment, but what she has merited based on her intelligence? And as such, again, as you said, I was. I don't know why they can't catch me. I was anxious, but I was trying to control all them feelings and they, you understand? So that's why I thought the best way to do is come out with a series of videos to try and put out my personal anger there. Maybe one or two people as parents might have similar stories as myself or might be feeling the same way, and let's share our story. But coming to last night, you asked me, I don't even know how I slept, but I know I slept. I know I slept. I slept. I don't know for the mother, but I slept. I slept well, and I woke up this morning. We all had a family chat this morning. We had a family chat this morning, and about the results, the potential. There was a bit of a battle going on between mom and daughter. In the pond, out of the pond. Can I come? Can I not come? Can I come in? Can I join you to go get this all elusive results? Oh no, you can't come. You know what the kids are like and that sort of thing. But I didn't get drawn into that battle. My take was get to work. Let me know what was the outcome. You understand? And lo and behold, when I saw the video call coming from work, I knew there was something good. Once it's going to be a video call, because there was a video call coming from work. I'm coming to me at work, and I was excited, and I saw the results being sent to me via WhatsApp. I was elated, and I could not believe it. I anticipated she was going to do well. If I have to be honest, I probably want to challenge her, say she could have even done better. It sounds harsh. It sounds harsh. No, it doesn't.
No, that sounds like my father.
You understand?
My father, you take 90% to him. He said, my friend, what happened to the 10%?
Oh, gosh.
That's what my father was like. Oh, my God. But 100% is all that was good enough for him.
Yeah.
You know, nothing less than that. So I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody who wants to call us, if you're also celebrating your son or daughter's results, be it A-levels or GCSE, and you want to share one or two tips to parents who are about to step into this academic year coming, please feel free to join us. You can call us on 079-461-41369. I've pinned it on the comments. Again, I'll repeat it, 07946 141369. You can call us on WhatsApp and you can join us and give us your own little 2 cents here and there. Because as we all know, there's no manual how for men picking in this part of the world or any part of the world, especially this part of the world where there's so much distraction and challenges when it comes to technology, the gadgets, the peer pressure, and so on and so forth. So it's a real challenge. So for anybody where you picking able do this and do them well, we say kudos to you. Well done, not just to the Pekin, of course to the Pekin, because it no matter, then you say you can drag a horse to the riverside, but you cannot force that horse to drink. And I can say, me can give a testimony of that. It happened to me. There's nothing I did not do for my own young man, but where he decides, say, what he wants for do, now they do, now he do. So again, these are some of the lessons we have to learn, and these are some of the things we have to pay attention to. Look at your child, try and understand your child, know what they're capable of, know what their abilities, and guide them through whatever or wherever you can, because it is key. Where say you don't stop there, this not the best I can go, find somebody else. Like what have they say, there are parents where there are going to be parents, and there have been parents where they're not as educated or even anywhere as bright as the beginning the way they don't born. But most of those parents, where them pick up, because it's common sense. It not means that because you don't get book sense, that means you don't get common sense. As long as you get common sense, you're able to pick up, say, this may picking what born. It look get sense, so it looks serious. So if you're not able, always go out there and seek help. Seek help, seek advice, seek support from other people. If not from your own immediate family or inner circle, extend them out to another circle. Go to the teachers, go to the head of year. There's so much support in this country. It's unbelievable. If you want it, you can get it. Yes, it's always sometimes harder for us as Black people, but we should not allow that to be for dictate the way we look at things or how we deal with things. You have to keep trying and you have to keep pushing. And I think that is very important. I just go and look at some of the comments, them where people that don't say, just so we go look, hello. And of course, Mrs. Sisay, they watch. I can't even begin to imagine how she's feeling right now. Very happy, very excited, so proud of you guys, because you guys are so involved in our community. Like you be they say, Abdul, una so involved. So una not to them parents them way 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Young ladies, it's time to come and sit down and study. And then the next table now, the dining table now sit down they check work, this and that. You did not have time to do that. No. Because not to diaspora voices, na meeting you they go pa, or you they go play, or you they go work, yep. And all the other things, or now count down the fitness, health, physical health and well-being. So there's so many things you guys do. And equally UF, Avril is so very involved in her community. She's social secretary for her alumni. She's also a mentor to a lot of people, active now in church and so on and so forth. So you guys have never really had that time to say, every day religious 7 o'clock, you can't sit now, you study. No. And tell God thank you. God give now a picking way say, what thing? I mean, say because my parents they do so many of these things. That is not a reason, and that is not an excuse for me not for do what I are supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And we tell God thank you for that. Mm-hmm. So and then in terms of comments, we get Abdul say algorithm was used. algorithm was used, Abdul, but then that was reviewed and that was challenged. So there was a lot of alterations to that. Patty Shori say, I know everyday studies, it's very important. Harriet said we nailed it. Of course, Harriet again, Harriet Matia also has a daughter who went to the same school as Waida Assumpta. And again, she is so, so happy today. Today, she is happy because she got what she wanted and what she was expecting. And she was another one constantly when you speak to Assumpta, Assumpta will be like, Auntie, I hope they don't even dare. I hope they don't try it. I will not be happy. I will not be, so it was constant. So it's very, very important. And yes, Aria says education, education, education is the key. Patty says true. And then Auntie Susan says, well done, baby. Well done to all our babies. Congratulations, Waida, and all that have been doing an amazing job through the year at school. And then well done to all the parents and guardians. Parenting is not easy, but you're doing an amazing job. Keep it up. Indeed, parenting is not easy. It is very difficult. Like I said earlier on, there is no manual for this thing. Nobody tells you how to do it. All you try to do, especially for us African children who were raised in an African way, irrespective of whether you were born here or you partially grown up here, we try to emulate what our parents did. And we try to use the same kind of strategy and styles to raise our children. But then we were faced with a rude awakening when we realized actually we cannot do it that way. We have to make some changes and we have to adapt and move forward and with times and blending with how they're thinking and their train of thoughts. So going back to you, Wahab. So what's the plan for this for your young lady?
She's got an appointment tomorrow. That's all I can say. To our first choice, where she's gonna go to, and I think it's just the formalities because they want her more than she wants them. It's a shame. It's not what I want personally. I would have preferred staying where you are, as you say, have that continuity. But and one of the key things that we learn from growing up in the UK, in this part of the world, is freedom to choose for our kids. Obviously, within the remit of guiding them, ensuring that, say, they not go out of the way. As you cited the support you gave to my nephew and that sort of thing, allowing him to have that freedom of choice, but at the same time, as long as guiding him, but giving him that autonomy. You understand? And I think preferably we would have preferred to have that continuity of scale because the school where she's at would prefer, as somebody who's gifted and talented, that would also ping the school to a higher level as an A-level student. But it's a case of sometimes your children can educate you to make you understand. So you remove your emotions and then you understand what is their bigger goal, because they are trained from nursery to start seeing things differently. We will go school, now teacher they tell we, now mama they tell we, and papa they tell we how for study, how for read. Now teacher they tell we how. Here, as you said it at the start, they teach them how to start thinking. They think independently, they think autonomously, and they assess, they risk assess, they do their own evaluation, then give their own feedback. You know, now picking go come on school, in their primary school, they can't talk about in project. How many of us did projects in our school and they were go and give reflective thinking? My daughter was talking about reflective thinking at primary school. I've never heard of reflective thinking until I go do me HNC now South Bank University. I'm like, that's when I knew about I didn't even do reflective thinking in Michael Ramsey's sixth form. I did not. Now, so I struggled, you understand? That sort of thing. But primary school, they don't teach them reflective thinking. So these are about ways of them making their own choice. So the school where she's at cannot offer what she wants to do for her future. So as a result of that, she's identified, she found it. And also, we don't go first school for picking in a salon. They found their school. You understand? Now, the mama or papa, I go tell you, say, where you don't know Form 5, you go Edwards 6th form, or you go Academy 6th form, because now you papa bingo, now you auntie bingo. You know what I mean? That kind of choice.
Yeah.
They almost signposted, now we live career in Africa. You don't do it here.
No.
If you try to do it, you're going to get it wrong as parents. So the answer, Isatta, is she's made a choice. We're going to support her. It's going to take the only thing we've said. The concern is about planning your journey because it's distance. But
Yeah.
and that's something that with the child that we've got as a blessing, she knows how to manage her time. So we don't see any risk there. When the weather do get cold, she's going to plan it better. But yes, she's found something which will be suitable to her future career, and
Yeah.
that's going to go tomorrow. And we wish her all the best.
I know it's amazing. I mean, Spanish. How did she manage to get? You know, I looked at the grades. I'm like, this girl, Spanish.
Hola.
Hola.
Yeah. The only reason why I can say hola because my granny nine hola. So.
So I think because of such a fantastic grade in Spanish, Mom and Dad, you guys owe her a trip to Spain, man. You owe her a trip to Spain because learning foreign language is not easy. It's very, very tough.
Isatta, can I give you just a comment on one of the parents' evening feedback? And this is the Spanish teacher to us. Verbatimly, she said, the only reason why we cannot give her a 9 because she's not Spanish born.
Yeah.
Because that's it. So she said she's that good but we cannot give her a 9 because she's not Spanish born. So basically, for colloquialism, because she might not be able to, but in terms of reading Spanish, speaking Spanish, listening, because the Spanish is split into 3. She does the reading, the speaking, and the listening. And the best she can achieve ever would be possible. They were expecting a 7. If she gets more than a 7, the Spanish teacher said, I will be very, very happy for her. And she got an 8. So that means the expected or the predicted grade, she smashed it. So that means she should be going to Spain.
I know, yes. So you owe her a trip to Spain. You owe her once Corona
settles. I'm going to ask all the aunties, the grannies, the grandmas, the grandpas, and
we would happily contribute because I think she deserves it. You know, it's just phenomenal. When you do foreign language in school, it is hard. It's really, really hard. I was saying to somebody else who, you know, their son had 6. I'm like, wow, that is good. They're like, oh, I said, yeah, that is good for language. You know, that is extremely good for language.
There is a benchmark of the language, which is 7. They don't expect you to go beyond 7.
Exactly. You know, because this is not something you're speaking at all on your day-to-day lifestyle or living, you know, and then you just decide to take it as a subject and then you excel in it that much. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah,
you know,
the closest I got to Spanish is Spanish. Spanish. Is it Spanish? I can't even say it. It's eating spinach.
So, but we're so grateful, and I just want to say thank you and congratulations once more to Wahida, to Ibrahim, to say IBM, to Assumpta Matier, to who else that I know that did very well today, and so many other kids who've done very well today. We are so proud of you all, and we're wishing you well. We're wishing you many, many more successes in all your years to come. We pray for continuous guidance and wisdom and support. We are there, not just your parents, but uncles, aunties, cousins, brothers, and sisters who are more senior than you are there and will support you. And that is why, for me, I am going to bring the kids together. Like, I've got 2 nieces who have just passed their university courses, one as a lawyer and one as a trained nurse. And then, of course, I've got Waida, and then I've got IBM, and then I've got Assumpta. I am going to bring them all together for a meal so that they start having that peer support and peer relationship. Because I think in our community, that's what we need to do more of. we need to be able to give our children the opportunity to get to know each other and support each other. You know, the older ones support the younger ones, and the younger ones support the youngest ones and guide them in the right direction. We were talking about this the other day about how best we can support our children in our community. And these are some of the ways we should be doing it. You know, making sure we create these networks. I think me and you have spoken about this a lot of times, isn't it, Wahab? How best we can bring these children together so that those who are struggling have mentors to look up to. We know female in Sierra Leone are doing a lot of mentoring of young ladies, but I think we need to do it more in terms of in terms of unisex, in terms of both male and female genders, not just focus on just one, because I think, in fact, in so many ways, it's our young boys that need support more than the women. And I think the women, our young girls, have a lot of influence on the young boys. So if we can get them all together so that they can support each other and recognize each other's potentials and abilities, I think that will be great. So we've talked about successes, we've celebrated all those who passed and all those who've done very well, be it A-levels or be it GCSE. Of course, if they've passed with their A-levels, hopefully they would have been accepted in the university that they've chosen, where they want to go pursue the course they want to pursue as a degree. And of course, GCSE, if they've passed and done very well in the subjects that they want to go and pursue in sixth form, they will go on and do that in sixth form. Now, we need to talk about what happens, what is going to happen to those who have failed, those who did not get the grades that they should be getting, or they were expecting, or they would like. Because as we know, a lot of our children will be suffering and going through a lot of issues with loss and grief. When we talk about loss and grief, a lot of people just think straight away to death. It is not always about death. It is not only when someone dies you feel a sense of loss or you're grieving. Whatever you lose in life leads you to some sense of loss and grief. And losing, I mean, the kids lose, so they stopped going to school in March, right? So April, May, June, July, they lost 4 months of education. I mean, most of the kids, they missed out on half of a school year, an academic year. So that in itself is a huge loss. And some kids are fine with it because they're happy. They didn't want to go to school in the first place. But some kids actually really missed it. And that is why, for me personally, I am hoping and praying that come September, there's no more changes. They must go to school. They have to go to school, because personally, if all these parents have been taking their kids out to the seaside or to the parks and to every other community gathering, why should they not be at school? They have missed out a lot on education, and I think it's very important for us to be aware of that, you know. So a lot of grief and loss has been going on amongst our young children as a result of all this change in their educational routine, as a result of the major milestones they've missed out on. For example, the proms, they've missed out on their proms, they've missed out on their Leavers Day, their exams have been cancelled. All of that has caused a lot of loss and grief for our children, coupled on the fact that those who have not made the grades that they wanted, either as an A-level student or as a GCSE student, be it their fault or not be it their fault. How do we move on from here? Because as the saying goes, exam grades do not define you. Because we all know, for some people who might be as bright as hell. I have got a son like that. They might go into exam and that day might just be a bad day for them, and they don't do what they're supposed to do or what they are capable of doing. So what do we do with those children? Do we then just shout and scream? Of course, it's painful. As a parent, it's painful. You would feel disappointed. You'll be angry, all sorts of emotions. But we then have to, once we've gone through that emotion, that wave of emotion, we then have to stop, step back, and think. And that is where reflective thinking comes in, that you were talking about. How do I now support my child to move on? Because we are lucky in this part of the world. Failing one exam doesn't mean that's the end of your education. You can always go back and do resits. For example, we all know the government has made it, it's mandatory that all child should have passed English and maths. All child should pass English and maths. Minimum, they have to have a 4 or a C in maths and English. So if your child is that child that hasn't made it, what is the way forward? What are you thinking about at the moment? Are you lost? Do you understand what you should be doing? Because it is not the end of the world. It is not the be it end all for that child. They are able to move on. They are able to go into a college and go on to a course, and at the same time, whilst they're doing that, whether it's BTech or whatever course they're doing, they can then receive their GCSE results. So tell me a little bit about what your thoughts are when it comes to that, Wahab.
You know what? I think you've just summarized it very well. For me personally, I think it's a tough one because when you talk about the sense of loss, the 4 to 5 months with, if I could start from there, where the kids have lost education in the classroom, so to speak, and it's affected many children, their emotional well-being, and it's affected their social skills, their social integration, because some children they don't get any good or greater social skills to go out and socialize with others. So it's only in the school setting that's when they do, and then they do it well, and then they kind of host based on the home dynamics. That's it. No, you know what I mean? Having forced them to stay home where, let's say, there's no integration, parental integration, or maybe, let's say, okay, the most simplest of thing where it's a one-child scenario, then there's no other siblings to play with. So that child looks forward to going in and meeting with 30 plus other children, and that's where they develop and strengthen. You see that person is so boisterous, and now you're asking them to have stayed on for the last 4.5 months plus, and it can be very, very painful. It's a very difficult loss in terms of time lost. You look at the education for those children who are valued or who value in education, are able or are not able to self-study, self-motivated to read or to do some research on their own. And the day when they say school done, pam pam, they lock out in and put on down. Who's going to come back and start stimulating their brain? What are we going to do to start stimulating their mindset, to reconfigure their brain to say, book, book, book? You understand? And we have, you understand? I've got the best of 3 worlds in my family, in my kids. And I always, as I say, I'm not ashamed of discussing my family, because I like to give the different dynamics, because I've seen my son a couple of years ago to what he did and what he did not want to do. Very similar ability, intelligent, but you can't put him in front of an exam. He was not interested. You understand? Chose his pathway, but he's not a stupid. He's a very, very bright man, but he just does not want to get engaged with that thing they call book. You understand? And then you have one who's gifted and talented, and then you have another one that wants to be in their own zone, their own element, and then you're now watching that person closely. You understand? Are you gonna aspire to be like your sister, or are you gonna be your own person? And then that's when you evaluate, do I now have to start thinking, okay, hang on a minute, your middle child, you were not there in terms of time-wise. They were able to identify and fill in the gaps independently. Do you now have to re-strategize and say, your last child, hang on, they need a bit of TLC. Come on, let's sit down. Let's study. Let's study, let's read. Let's see what's your homework. Where's your homework? You can't tell me there's no homework. You understand that kind of thing? Because the assessment is different. So that sense of loss. And then it comes to the personal loss, where circumstances are different for every child. You understand? So there are children with personal losses where it could be from a home setting where grief and has come in, and they were not focused, they were not ready mentally, they were not ready to go into that exam. So the exam, the timing of the exam was absolutely wrong. So how can you assess, within a salon, I just put it in this way, I go put picking for go sit exam where they go through a difficult personal life crisis. So that child will not perform in any capacity or what, you understand? But that kind of loss, Isatta, is one of the most difficult when it comes to that. Do we turn around and say that's a failing child? No, those are not failing children.
No.
Those are where you start identifying as parents, as family, as relatives, to identifying the strength, the inner strength, the intelligence of those individual children or child, and saying, hang on a minute, just take this, because you said something where you said the grades, the exam grades does not make up the ability of the child. You understand? Because some children know how to go through the exam, sit it well and pass it. Some children are just consistent. Some children, the timing can be appalling. And we've seen that today. And that's why I've said I've got a mixed emotion. So I've got to nurture families and nephews and nieces around me in coming up. Whilst I want to get too overexcited celebrating my personal child, I want to stop short of not saying, don't gloat too much, because you've got other families, you understand? You've got other people that you call your children as well, that call you dad, you understand? And who are looking forward to you. So you don't want to be overzealous on one and then not being able to understand and show empathy on the other side. So I have to be able to balance that. And that's what is my responsibility. That's what's my role. You talk about mentorship. That's how I'm going to have to mentor, because I think I have now more work to do with those who did not achieve, you understand, based on their sense of loss in very different ways. So I have work to do to ensuring I put a lot of work to make sure that they are confident, you understand, they do not interpret this as a failure, because a child who will see their surrounding, because they're all friends, they are all in the same circle, as Isatta, don't talk, you understand? So as a parent, you want to be able to support those children that did not make the grades today. You want to be there and wrap them around your arms and say, hang on a minute, you are better, you are far intelligent, this is just a hurdle, and don't let this be the judge of your intelligence. Don't just be the underscore of what you are capable of doing. There are so many things you can do.
Absolutely. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's and I think that's the most important thing for me. The message here really is to all our brothers and sisters out there, moms and dads, grandparents who are celebrating today. There's nothing wrong with celebrating, but it's also very important for us to be aware of those who today, they are not as successful as the kids who have been successful. And let us be mindful of their mental health and well-being, because we all know some kids deal with things differently. Some kids are faced with a wide range of emotions, as you've said, when approaching this results day, but also in life in general. Things might have happened. The year might not have been the best year for them. Other things might have happened in their personal life, in their school life, in their family life, and so on and so forth. And it's very important for us to recognize and appreciate all these feelings and responses and ensure that they are valid and normal responses. All these feelings of excitement, all these feelings of nervousness, all these feelings of disappointment, all these feelings of resentment, anger, stress, relief, and resentment and guilt. We must recognize them as responses and feelings that are valid and normal, but not to stop there, but to think, what next? How do we then turn these into positive emotions and feelings? How do we support that child that didn't do well? Again, like I said, we don't find ourselves in a country where we're very, very lucky, where there's so many options. Back in Sierra Leone, and I think even up to now, the only path you have, or the majority pathway, is you go to school, you do your GCSE. After your GCSE, you do your A levels. The next thing, and for going to university. I remember 10, 20 years ago, you are only celebrated if you're not doctor, lawyer, or engineer. So if you go tell your parents and say you want to become a nurse, you were not really welcome that much. It has to be a doctor. You have to be a lawyer. You have to be an engineer. Those are the kind of career pathway that had clout when we were growing up. And then we can't find ourselves in this country where actually we realize, say, the electrician, they make more money, 10 times more money than the doctor. The plumber, they make 10 times more money than the lawyer. So then the government self don't look at these situations and say, actually, we just go make sure say picking them, then get them basic education, especially their English and math. After that, we are going to start teaching and training not just the parents, but the teachers as well. For begin sports picking, like we said earlier, we're not very good at exams. Where for them, book learning in that kind of setting is not the best way for them. But it will be another route, such as apprenticeship. They try better as an apprentice, who say they're hands-on person, whilst they learn a trade at the same time that they learn them physically as well as mentally. So those are the kind of things we have to look at. We have to look at how we picking them, they cope today and after today, where they don't go through all these emotions of today. What's next? How do they deal with this? And how do they manage their feeling and the pressure of, like you say, then get them, party them. All man go, they calling company now. Uda get this, Uda get this. Me, what I do today, I deliberately not call any parent. I just didn't feel like putting pressure on any parent for begin ask, say, what you begin do? I literally waited for all of you guys to call and say, guess what? This is it. Because I have been there and I know how it felt when I was having those phone calls and I didn't have the pleasant news that everybody was expecting, because we are all under so much pressure as parents, especially when you're not high performing parents. Everybody, they expect, say, that you would project onto your children. But what we fail to realize sometimes is our children are their own people. They are their own independent individuals, and they can make up their own mind in terms of how they deal with things and how they approach things. So those are the kind of things I want people to really, really think about and remember. And also keep an eye on these children who have not done very well today. Check on them. Make sure they're being observed. Make sure you're talking to them. You're putting words of encouragement in them. Not just saying, now so you don't fail done, you don't done. Now you don't so. Now you don't done so. Now this is it. I tire with you. So and so and so. They're not saying you shouldn't scold them, of course, especially for picking the way so they get potential and they have not done what they should do, even though day in, day out, you don't tell them, say, study, you don't provide everything for them. Of course, they should be scolded. Of course, they should be told off. However, Like how they say, when you push them small, you get for draw them back can near you. So that is what you have to do. You balance so that, because the last thing you don't want is let them can't take to mind, begin go do things, go out in the street and begin do things them way they're not supposed to do. And you as a parent, be kind to yourself. Give yourself a tap on the shoulder. No matter what's in the outcome of the result today, you did your bit. As long as you're 100% convinced you have done your bit, then you need to tap yourself on the shoulder. And of course, the children themselves need to tap themselves on the shoulder and feel good about themselves. And then, of course, moving on to where do we go from here? Like we say, some pikin want for going to a sixth form school. Some pikin want for staying in your school, we get sixth form. For many reasons, some people don't like change. Some people, once they're comfortable where they are, they're comfortable. Some people are not. And then some people want to go try new things. And that is what your daughter is doing. She wants to go into a new environment. She likes challenges. And I think you as parents, you know that of her anyway. She's someone who likes challenges. So kudos to her. So I would say to people, let us remember that. Let us think about how we support our kids, especially the ones who have not been equally as successful as those who have, how best we can support them and the way forward. So anything to add there, Wahab, because what I want to do is to close it and signpost people to mental health charity organizations that they can go to if they're worried about their children, or if their children themselves are worried about what's going on, what has gone on in the last few months.
Yeah, thank you. For me personally, I just want to congratulate every children out there, especially from a Sierra Leonean background, and that went through this period, this difficult period, because it was difficult. It's going to be the most indifferent year in their life forever, but it will not set the agenda, the tone of their career. So I want to thank them for being steadfast, and because with those whom we know their anxiety level has been right up there. Our kids have got a better controlled emotions. A lot of them have not been able to manage decent sleep within the last 4 to 5 days, so to speak, with all the headlines. And one of the failings that I think we're blinded as parents. We don't think our children, because they sit down, we watch television news, they don't know what's going on. They are well connected, they are well informed. This is the age of digital technology, and they've got their own media and their own source of capturing the news. So they know what was going on, and it has affected them. So I want to thank all the children for that. For those who had challenging results, because I would never say any child has failed, but challenging results or indifferent results, I want to say this does not set you and it does not define your career pathway. And so the sky is still your limit. Those who are celebrating better and excellent results, again, this does not make you any better. In fact, what this does, it defines your preparation and your willingness to wanting to do more, because your challenges are now greater because you need to sustain it and strive towards achieving higher goals. Again, the sky is your limit. To us as parents, to all the parents, I want to say thank you, and well done, and continue to support all our children, the families, the loved ones, and everybody that has been around there. We want to say thank you. Personally, I want to say thank you to Avril for actually making this happen, because you worked very, very hard behind the scenes, because I've been on the road all the time. So you have actually played the more role of grounding our daughter Wahida and ensuring that she has a focus and she has a goal. So I want to say thank you to Avril for that. And more importantly, thanks for all the wonderful comments that have come from families, friends, and the wider community. Thank you so much. And thank you to you, Isatta, for giving me the opportunity to share my story. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you. Like, just to round up what Wahab has said, once more, congratulations to every child and parent that are celebrating their successes today. And for those who were rather less fortunate, we're saying exam grades does not define your future. You can still take control of your future. This is a steep learning curve for you. If you were messing around, that's why you ended up with a terrible grade, then it's a wake-up call for you to then dust yourself and put your head up high and do what you're supposed to do. If you're just not academically capable, then there are many, many options out there. But also, if you're a child that has been left, or if you as a parent, you're recognizing any sense of mental health issue, then please, please, please try and recognize it and seek help. There's plenty of help out there, especially if children are going through stress, anxiety, and depression, or other organic mental health issues. It's not just the simple stress, like we all know a lot of kids last night did not sleep, or they were very anxious for the last 1 week since the A-level results came out and there was a bit of an issue. We know our children were stressed. But after today, if you're still noticing signs and symptoms of mental health issues, then please, please, please contact a professional for help. You can go online. There's an urgent help in a crisis service available 24/7 advice and support for you, your child, a parent, or someone else you care for. And there's so many different charity organizations such as Anxiety UK, Bipolar UK, CALM, Men's Health Forum, Mental Health Foundation, Mind, which is a very popular one, No Panic, OCD Action, OCD UK, Papyrus, Rethink Mental Health, Samaritans, Sane, Young Minds, and NSPCC, Refuge, and then of course anything in relation with alcohol misuse. There's so many other national helplines that are there that are available for you to tap into to seek help. A lot of what NHS has done recently, you can actually self-refer yourself to some of these mental health support networks. So please take advantage of it. Please let us continue celebrating our children. Let us continue to support them. If you need help, do not hesitate to ask for help. We are working very hard in our community. Yes, we are the minority, but still, as a community, a lot of us are working to change the status quo of our community, wherein your failure doesn't mean that's the end of the world. Your failure does not equate to laughter. We want your mistakes not to be equated to failure or the end of the world. And so please, please, please try and identify someone that you can contact, that you can talk to, that you can seek advice from. We are looking at many ways in how best we can support not just our children, but us as parents. We have on Tuesday, there was a program by Team Talk, and we had teachers there. We had Binta Macaulay, we had Hannah Kai Davis, who have set up something to do with supporting children, especially with maths and English. So take advantage of it, use it, grab it. We have to learn to support one another. And I think that's the most important thing, and that's the most important message here. It is not rocket science. You have to trust somebody, and you have to seek help when you need help. So thank you very much. Once again, kudos to everybody. We are so proud of you all, and have a blessed evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Let's go try the fend 2-3 pounds for Kemi Pikin and go out and celebrate, because I think they deserve it. So thank you, thank you. Congratulations once more to all our parents. We love you all. Have a blessed evening. Enjoy the rest of the summer holiday, and onwards and upwards, hopefully back to reality, back to normality in September.
We pray so. Thank you so much.
Education is the most if you don't even play you it, so you can bend, make you go to school. Cause it's opportunity to come and for you. Now let them sister, say not like them to for father's friend. Education is free, I think for the school. Education is free, Seisay-Jalloh today. Oh mama, education is free. Education is free. Love making up several lessons now. Say what I drop on yourself, make things happen now. And so when you never say Lord, education not free. And so when you never say Lord, education not free. No, if you say books sweet fast money and gold not true. Make a talk that. And the long set sweet fast money not gold not free. And you don't go pay 1 cent, you don't go get me in a do for school fee. Come on, the safe no go like that for September 1. Education are the key, education are for we. And this is why I'm free. Say no like a truth, I want father's prayer. Education are free. One thinking like you think for the school. Education are free. Seisay-Jalloh today. Oh mama. Education are free. Education are free. Send it big in the school, mama. Send it big in law. Education are free. Send it big in gold. If you don't get better, if you don't get better, send my school. If you don't get better, okay, focus one and three. When you go play one kubo, education are free. Distraction, I feel a book no like. The killer for go straight, we are not talk. Compare no more excuse, send them for land. Listen, but before you go send them to man. If you try to pull your kind of bacteria, education, I can change gentle, yeah? Say no like a truth, I want father's prayer. Education are free. What thinking like you think for the school. Education are free. Seisay-Jalloh today. Oh mama. Education are free. Education are free. You can go school or here, man. They can't see me, I can make the ticket your way. I want everybody school to get a uniform for wear. Or tomorrow, so can go get something to back hotel. Mama, where you pick land, you go be and the right. Mama, where you pick land, you know the left from the right. Mama, where you pick land, you know the good from the bad. Papa, where you pick land, then it probably go hard. Education is the key. Seisay-Jalloh now not free. Now it's a long reach for land while life will not open one day. No let the truth of father's friend. Fighting the nations for education with quality. In a government don't count with the certainty. I said to wait for it up and let you urgently. On making up a place to see. Yeah, English we go right and fine. Then not come with the beginning speak and fine. Mommy, I want to go to school. Say no like a truth, I want father's prayer. Education are free. What thinking like you think for the school. Education are free. Seisay-Jalloh today. Oh mama. Education are free. Education are free. Say no like a truth, I want father's prayer. Education are free. What thinking like you think for the school. Education are free. Seisay-Jalloh today. Oh mama. Education are free. Education are free. Education are free. You must cry. If you don't even play well, take you book and pen.